My name is Regan. I am a York University student. I'm doing a Bachelor of Science in kinesiology. I'm in my first year, and it's off to a pretty tough start.
Well, tell me about your university experience a little bit. I mean, you're a first year student in
Mhm.
kinesiology. You started this September. So
Um,
tell me about that.
so I started off in September. I had recently received a diagnosis for my long-lasting chronic illness.
Hmm.
So I registered with Accessibility Services under permanent disability,
Hmm.
and I was offered accommodations that were helping me get through my classes. And then by the time October hit, the whole vaccination mandate kind of rolled out and started getting some threatening emails because I hadn't disclosed my status. Um, Based on this, they said that I would be de-enrolled because I had not disclosed.
Hmm.
I wasn't comfortable with that.
Right.
So I went to my geneticist. He's from the Mayo Clinic, and I received a medical exemption from the COVID vaccine and additional vaccinations just due to the nature of my illness.
Hmm.
And I submitted it to the exemption office at York University, and they denied it. So when I asked, "Hi, why was it denied?" I answered them. I was very polite, just wondering because I knew that I had met all the criteria.
Hmm.
So they sent a link with the Ontario government guidelines for exemptions, and I had everything that I needed. I listed an allergic reaction. I had a specialist. It was on letterhead. It had my name. It had my date of birth. It had the reason. It also states that you don't even have to specifically say what your medical condition is in the
Hmm.
letter because that's private medical information.
Right.
And I went the extra step and did that to make them understand, hey, this is my condition. Like, I absolutely cannot be getting this vaccination. And they said no. So after I'd followed up and said, hey, I do fall within the guidelines, they just sent the guidelines back again and said, this is what we're following. You do not apply. So I resubmitted my exemption through the YU screen portal because they just kept changing me to unvaccinated.
Hmm.
So I kept submitting it and kept submitting it, and they just continued to deny it.
Okay.
So the woman that I was dealing with, her name was Carolyn, and I kind of looked into her position to see what kind of authority she had. So she's actually just an administrative person at the university, not a medical professional, not somebody who even deserves to know my medical information.
Hmm.
Um, and she actually responded and said, hey, I Googled your illness and I found this article that says you should be able to get it. Hope this helps. Thanks. And I was baffled by that. Just like the audacity to tell me, hey, your Mayo Clinic geneticist doesn't know better than I do,
Hmm.
and completely disregarded my illness. It was incredibly ableist the way that she had spoken to me. And this went on for 6 to 8 weeks. And then around December, I was de-enrolled, and I uh, I was pretty hurt by that because I'd fought so hard.
Hmm.
And at this point, I had never once been on campus. I haven't attended any in-person classes this year, and that was mostly due to my disability accommodations. I had asked for remote learning because it works better for me. So that was kind of the route that I had taken. So once I had been de-enrolled and I contacted the Human Rights Commission of Ontario, they said I had a case on the basis of discrimination
Hmm.
due to my disability. So I approached the school with that, and I was still de-enrolled. The adjudicator said they couldn't help. I talked to the Human Rights office at York, and they said that my exemption was worded wrong because it said something like, I suggest she doesn't get a COVID
Hmm.
vaccination, or I wouldn't recommend it. Not that she should not get this immediately right now.
Okay.
So they said that that language was not appropriate. So the university took that as me being able to get it still.
Wow, holy shit. Okay.
Yeah,
So there's a lot to talk about here.
so much.
Let's begin with let's begin with the doctor, right? So you said it's a doctor from Mayo Clinic,
Hmm.
and Mayo Clinic is one of the most highly regarded medical institutions in the
Absolutely.
world.
Yeah.
And so this medical doctor advised that you should not get
Yeah.
the vaccine, and he wrote out an exemption for you.
Yes.
And so there's some sort of person at York University that's making personal health decisions for you, disregarding what a Mayo Clinic doctor has said.
Absolutely. And she's in an administrative role.
Yeah.
She's not,
She's not even a
yes,
higher up
she's
or
not a
anything.
higher up, she's not the dean, she's not a medical professional, and she just got to play judge and jury over my health.
Wow, that's messed up. Okay, so and then another thing, you mentioned that she just went on into um, search up your condition and tell you, oh, hey, I looked this up. Here's an article, and
Yes.
you should be able to get it.
Like, she literally pulled up an article, and the article actually stated some people with this condition can get it, others cannot. It depends on the individual.
Mhm. So then
Okay,
it's
I'm one of the ones who can't. The bottom line, that's what my medical professional
yeah,
said.
that's messed up. That's crazy.
Yeah,
It's insane how they're denying exemptions of for these particular cases,
right.
because these would be, I would assume, the ones that they would accept, um,
Absolutely.
because they happen so
Hmm.
infrequently, right?
I I kind of thought the exemptions that were being turned down might be ones that weren't done properly or that were a bit of a stretch. Even
Hmm.
still, they should not have been turned down.
Yeah.
Anybody has the right to make a medical decision based on their own body, but I knew that I had every single aspect of the letter that I needed. I had done everything correctly. There was zero reason for it to be turned down. And I responded multiple times. This went on for 6 to 8 weeks. And I
Mhm.
said, this is a valid legal medical exemption, 101%. And she just kept responding. The same woman, Carolyn. And she went, it has been denied. Stop emailing us.
What was their reason for denying you?
They didn't have one. They said it's not acceptable. It doesn't meet the guidelines. And then they'd send the provincial guidelines,
Hmm.
and I'd go through them, and I went, yeah, that actually does mean it. Because part of my illness is a comorbidity that causes severe allergic reactions, including anaphylaxis, to anything, medications especially, um, foods, anything. Anything can set me off into a severe allergic reaction.
So it's life-threatening.
Yeah,
Anaphylaxis is
it's
life-threatening.
absolutely life-threatening. So that's what my exemption stated,
Hmm.
and they just refused to accept that because the two criteria that they say are only acceptable are heart problems after a vaccination or severe allergic reaction to a component in the vaccine.
So basically, what they're stating is the only exemptions they would accept is if you, despite all the recommendations of your doctor, you go in, get a vaccine, almost die, or have a severe allergic reaction or have a heart condition that is not fixable,
Yeah.
then we'll exempt you. So you have to injure yourself to
Yes.
get an exemption.
Exactly.